There is a story about an old man who decided to move a mountain. Not metaphorically, not overcome an obstacle, or face a challenge. Literally, physically, with a shovel and a basket. He was 90 years old. The mountain was enormous. The nearest place to put the dirt was a full year's journey away. Everyone who heard about it thought he was the most foolish person alive. They called him Yugong, the foolish old man. And then the mountain moved. Úgong-i-san, the foolish old man moves the mountain. Welcome back to K-Wisdom, where 4 characters hold thousands of years of Korean wisdom. Today, Ú공이산, the story of the most underestimated man in ancient Chinese literature. And the question he asks everyone who hears his story: what mountain are you not moving because it seems too big? Let's start with the 4 characters. Gu-yu, foolish, simple, without cleverness. Gong-gong, a respected elder, a man of standing. Yi-I, to move, to shift, to carry from one place to another. Shan-san, mountain. Úgong-yi-shan, the foolish old man moves the mountain. 4 characters, an old man, an impossible task, and a story that has been telling people something true about persistence and patience for over 2,000 years. To understand Ú공이산, we need to understand the problem. Yugong, the foolish old man, lived at the foot of 2 enormous mountains. Taihong Mountain and Wangwu Mountain. Both massive, both right in front of his house. Completely blocking his path to anywhere worth going. To get anywhere at all, he and his family had to walk all the way around. A journey that took days instead of hours. A detour that affected everything: their work, their access to markets, their connections to the wider world. Yugong had lived with this inconvenience for his entire life. And then, at the age of nearly 90, which is not typically when people begin ambitious construction projects, he gathered his family together and made an announcement. "We are going to move the mountains," he said. His family, to their credit, agreed. His wife had one practical question: where do we put the dirt? They decided to carry the dirt to the Bohai Sea. 1 year's journey away. So the work began. Yugong and his sons and grandsons took baskets and shovels to the mountain. They dug. They filled the baskets. They carried the baskets to the sea. They came back and dug again. The round trip took a year. They did it anyway, day after day, season after season. The mountain did not appear to be getting smaller. The task did not appear to be getting easier. The sea did not appear to be getting any closer. And they kept going. And then came Jisoo. Jisoo, whose name literally means wise old man, was Yugong's neighbor. And he had opinions. He came to Yugong and said, with the specific confidence of someone who considers themselves sensible, approximately this: "You are nearly 90 years old. You don't have many years left. You couldn't move a small hill with all your remaining strength. What makes you think you can move 2 mountains?" It was, by any reasonable measure, a good point. The math was not favorable. Yugong was old. The mountain was enormous. The sea was far. The rate of progress was essentially invisible. Jisoo was not being cruel. He was being logical. And Yugong listened to him carefully. And then said something that has been quoted for 2,000 years. Yugong looked at Jisoo and said calmly, without anger, without drama, "When I die, my sons will continue. When my sons die, my grandsons will continue. And their sons, and their grandsons, and their sons after that. Generation after generation, without end. But the mountain does not grow. The mountain does not get larger. Every basket of dirt we carry makes it smaller. Every day of work makes it less than it was. So tell me, why would the mountain not eventually be moved?" Jisoo had no answer. Because Yugong was not wrong. He had done math that Jisoo, the wise old man, had not thought to do. Not the math of one old man with one remaining lifetime. The math of a family across generations, working steadily against a fixed obstacle. Time, applied consistently to a problem that does not grow, always wins. The story has a mythological ending that is worth knowing. When the mountain spirits heard Yugong's answer, when they understood that this family intended to keep digging forever, generation after generation, without stopping, they became afraid. They went to the Emperor of Heaven. And the Emperor of Heaven, moved by Yugong's sincerity, by the depth of his determination, by the pure unwavering commitment of a man who had decided that the mountain would move, sent 2 heavenly warriors to carry the mountains away. The mountains were moved in a single night. And Yugong's path was clear. The story contains something important in this ending, something that is easy to miss if you focus only on the supernatural element. Yugong did not move the mountain himself. He moved the universe enough that the mountain moved. His persistence did not only change the mountain, it changed everything around it. Ú공이산 means persisting in the face of what appears impossible. Not charging at the mountain. Not finding a clever shortcut. Not waiting for someone else to move it. just showing up, every day, doing the amount that can be done today, and trusting that doing the amount that can be done today, repeated without end, will eventually be enough. In Korean, this phrase is used to describe the person who works toward a long-term goal when everyone around them says it's too hard. Who shows up every day to practice something they are not yet good at, because they understand that good comes from accumulated practice rather than talent. Who keeps going through setbacks that other people would have accepted as proof that the goal was unachievable. 우공이산, not speed, not cleverness, not a brilliant strategy, just keep going. Jisoo, the wise old man, made a mistake that clever people make constantly. He calculated correctly. He just calculated too small. He saw one old man. He measured the remaining years of that one old man. He compared them to the size of the mountain. And he concluded not enough. He was right about the math. He was wrong about the unit. Because Ugong was not calculating in one lifetime. He was calculating in generations. In the accumulated effort of a family committed to a single direction, applied consistently over time that Jisoo, thinking only about the present, had not thought to include. This is the trap that Jisoo represents, and it is one of the most common traps in human thinking. Seeing only what can be accomplished right now, by one person, in one season. And concluding from that small picture that the large goal is impossible. 우공이산 expands the frame. Not can I move this mountain in my lifetime? But what happens if we keep going? 우공이산 lives everywhere in modern life, in every person who chose consistent effort over the illusion of a shortcut. The musician who practices scales for years before anyone wants to hear them play. Who sits at their instrument every day when no audience is watching, when no progress is visible, when the gap between where they are and where they want to be seems as large as ever. The writer who fills notebooks with drafts that don't work. Who keeps writing anyway, not because each page brings visible progress, but because the only path to writing something good runs through writing a great deal that isn't. The person learning a new language one word at a time. Not fluent today, not fluent next month, but slightly less not fluent, consistently, which is the only way fluency has ever arrived. All of them Ugong with a basket and a shovel. Mountain not visibly smaller today. Keep going anyway. 우공이산 is not only a story. It keeps happening. In India, a man named Dashrath Manji watched his wife die because there was no road through the mountain near their village, the nearest hospital too far away along the long route around. He decided to cut a road through the mountain. By himself, with a hammer and a chisel. It took him 22 years. 22 years of daily work, alone, chipping at a mountain with hand tools while everyone around him called it impossible. While people laughed, while others gave up waiting for him to give up. The road is there today. 110 meters long. Cut through solid rock by one man over 22 years. Because he kept going. 우공이산, not ancient mythology. A man, a chisel, a mountain. And the one quality that changed what was possible. Jisoo looked at Ugong and saw an old man with a basket. He was right. That is what Ugong was. What Jisoo couldn't see, what clever people often cannot see, is what an old man with a basket, applied daily without stopping, becomes over time. Water is softer than stone. By any measure, water should not be able to cut through rock. But water, applied to the same point consistently, without stopping, over enough time, carves canyons. Not because any single drop was powerful enough. Because the drops didn't stop. 우공이산 is not a story about strength. It is not a story about brilliance or strategy or the right approach. It is a story about not stopping. And the astonishing, counterintuitive, genuinely difficult to believe amount that not stopping is worth. Ugong's answer to Jisoo contains something worth sitting with. The mountain does not grow. That is the key. Most obstacles in life share this quality with Ugong's mountain. They are large. They are fixed. They do not get bigger as you work on them. The skill gap doesn't widen while you practice. It stays where it is or shrinks. The debt doesn't grow while you pay it down consistently. It stays or shrinks. The language barrier doesn't expand while you learn. It stays or shrinks. If the obstacle is fixed and the effort is consistent, time is on your side. Always. Without exception. Jisoo saw the mountain. Ugong saw the math. And the math said keep going long enough, and the mountain will be gone. 우공이산 asks everyone who hears it one question. What is your mountain? Not the small obstacles. Not the inconveniences. The real one. The thing that seems too large to move. That everyone around you, your Jisoo, well-meaning and logically correct, says cannot be done in your lifetime. That would require more time than you have, more effort than seems reasonable, more patience than you think you possess. What is it? And here is the follow-up question the one Ugong's answer contains. Not, can I move it? Not, do I have enough time? Not, is it too late? But what happens if I just keep going? One basket at a time. One day at a time. Without measuring whether today's work made the mountain visibly smaller. Just keep going. Ugongisan contains a way of thinking that modern life rarely teaches. Generational thinking. Ugong did not ask, can I finish this in my lifetime? He asked, if we start now and never stop, when will it be done? The answer might be after I am gone. After my children are gone. In a time I will never see. And Ugong's response to that answer was, then let's start now. There is something profound in this. Something that the culture of immediate results, where anything that doesn't show visible progress quickly is considered failed, has made almost impossible to hold on to. The idea that the right work, done consistently, produces results across a timeline longer than one person's life. That starting something you will not finish is not pointless. That the person who plants a tree under whose shade they will never sit is not wasting their time. Ugongisan. Start now. Keep going. Trust the math. Ugongisan is, in many ways, a direct challenge to the way modern life works. We live in a world of instant feedback, where results are expected quickly, where if something isn't working within a visible timeframe, 3 months, 6 months, a year, it is considered evidence that the approach is wrong. That a different strategy is needed. That maybe the goal itself was wrong. Jisu's thinking, the wise old man, the practical one, the one who said, "You're nearly 90 and the mountain is enormous," is the default mode of modern productivity culture. Stop what isn't working, pivot, find a better approach, be strategic, and sometimes that is right. Sometimes stopping is wisdom, but Ugongisan asks whether some of what we call not working is actually not finished. Whether some of what we call the wrong approach is actually the right approach, applied for 3 months instead of 22 years. Whether Jisoo, sensible, logical, correct in his math, occasionally tells us to give up on things that were, in fact, going to work. If we had kept going. History is full of Ugongisan, the people who were called foolish for attempting something that everyone around them said was impossible. Who kept going anyway, not always to success, not always to the mountain fully moved, but to something, progress, discovery, changed understanding that would not have existed if they had listened to their Jisoo. Dashrath Manji, 22 years, 1 chisel, 1 road through a mountain. The Indonesian farmer Sadaman, who spent 20 years planting trees alone on a burned hillside that everyone else had ridden off and created a forest. The unknown writers who filled thousands of pages with work that didn't sell before the one book that did. The musicians who practiced in rooms where no one was listening for years before anyone wanted to hear. All of them Ugong with a basket. All of them eventually the mountain moved. There is something quietly moving about the image of Ugong at the end of one day's work. Old, tired, the mountain enormous, unchanged looking, as immovable as it was this morning. And a basket of dirt. One basket, that is what today produced. One basket of dirt from a mountain that requires thousands of journeys to the sea. And Ugong sets down the basket. And goes to sleep. And wakes up the next morning and picks up the shovel again. Not because the basket made a visible difference. Because the basket was today's work. And today's work was his to do. Tomorrow's basket will be tomorrow's work. And the mountain that does not grow will be slightly smaller. This is Ugongisan, not the grand gesture, not the moment of visible breakthrough. The daily basket, done without requiring proof that it matters. Because the math says it does. The path was clear, where 2 enormous mountains had stood blocking every journey, complicating every route, defining the limits of Ugong's world for his entire life. There was open road. Ugong walked through it. He had not moved the mountains himself. He had moved the universe enough that they moved. His persistence had not only changed the mountain, it had changed everything around it. The mountain spirits who feared the endless digging, the Emperor of Heaven who was moved by the sincerity of a man who refused to stop. This is the full teaching of Ugongisan. Persistence does not only work on the thing you are working on. Persistence changes the context, changes what is possible, changes what the universe or the people in it, or the circumstances around it decides to do about your mountain. Keep going long enough, with enough sincerity, with enough refusal to accept that the mountain is permanent. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes the mountain moves faster than you dug. That is Ugongisan. The foolish old man moves the mountain. 2,000 years old, still true, still needed, in a world that calls you foolish for working on something that won't show results this quarter. That rewards the appearance of progress over the reality of accumulated effort. That has 1,000 Jisoo voices ready to explain, logically and correctly, why your mountain is too large and your remaining time too short. Ugongisan says do the math differently. Not can I finish this today? But what happens if I never stop? The mountain does not grow. The effort accumulates. Time is on the side of the person who keeps going. Pick up the basket. Do today's work. Come back tomorrow. And here is your question for today. What mountain have you stopped working on because someone or your own Jisoo voice told you it was too big, too slow, too unlikely to ever be done? And what would happen if you picked up the shovel again tomorrow? Tell us in the comments. Because 우공이산 stories the mountains people are quietly, daily, moving are some of the most powerful stories we have. Thank you for watching K-Wisdom, where 4 characters hold thousands of years of Korean wisdom. If this stayed with you, if you are thinking about your mountain, please like and subscribe. There are many more 4 characters waiting. See you next time on K-Wisdom.